For 10,000 years, the galactic hegemony ruled the stars without anyone challenging them. 7 older alien species controlled this empire. They had taken over hundreds of younger races through their better technology and harsh rule. These 7 species made all the important decisions for everyone else. Admiral Vextara belonged to the Zalaxian race, which handled all military matters for the hegemony. He had blue-gray skin with small breathing holes along his neck. His 4 eyes could see in different light ranges, making him an excellent commander for space missions. Today, Admiral Vextara was doing a regular check of the outer areas of hegemony space. His massive warship, the Dominant, carried 5,000 crew members and enough weapons to destroy a small moon. "Admiral, sensors have found something unusual," said First Officer Krill, her tentacle-like fingers moving quickly over the control panel. "An unknown ship near the empty Proxima system." Vextara walked to the main screen. "Show me." The screen lit up with the image of a small vessel. It looked primitive compared to hegemony ships. Its design was unfamiliar, not smooth and curved, like most spacefaring races built, but angular and practical. "Life signs?" Vextara asked. "One being." "Unknown species," replied the sensor officer. "Bring the ship in. I want to see this creature myself." Inside the small ship called Pathfinder, Jack Miller knew he was in trouble. The experimental faster-than-light drive had worked perfectly for the first jump. Earth had celebrated this breakthrough that would take humans to the stars. NASA had chosen Jack, a former Air Force pilot, to test the new engine for longer jumps. The second test was supposed to be a quick hop to the edge of the solar system and back. But something had gone wrong. The drive had pushed the Pathfinder much farther than planned. The navigation system showed Jack was at least 15 light-years from Earth, maybe more. With the drive damaged and power running low, Jack had no way to get home. And now a massive ship was approaching, clearly not human. "Well," Jack said to himself as he looked at the alien vessel through his view screen, "looks like first contact is happening today." Jack was 35 years old, with short brown hair, and the fit body of someone who spent years in military training. He quickly backed up all the ship's data and sent out an emergency message with his coordinates, knowing it would take years to reach Earth. The huge alien ship came closer. Jack felt his small craft shake as some kind of energy beam grabbed the Pathfinder. They were pulling him in. "Okay, Miller," he told himself. "Remember the training. Be friendly. Be calm. Don't make any threatening moves." But NASA had never actually expected to meet aliens during this mission. The training had been mostly theoretical. Jack grabbed the first aid kit and the small pistol they had sent with him, just in case. He doubted the gun would help against a civilization that could build a ship that big, but it gave him some comfort. The Pathfinder was pulled into a large bay inside the alien vessel. Jack saw strange beings moving around outside his ship through the small window. They had 4 arms and blue-gray skin. A voice came through his communication system, somehow translated into English. "Exit your vessel. You will not be harmed if you cooperate." Jack took a deep breath. He was about to become the first human to meet an alien civilization. "Here goes nothing," he said, and opened the hatch. The air was breathable but smelled strange, like cinnamon and metal. 6 alien guards surrounded him. They stood nearly 7 feet tall with 4 eyes that blinked at different times. "Follow," one said simply. Jack was led through long hallways with curved walls made of a material that seemed almost alive. Other aliens stopped to stare at him as he passed. Jack noted everything he saw, mentally recording it all to report back to Earth, if he ever got the chance. They brought him to a large room where a single alien sat in a raised chair. This one wore decorative armor and had markings on its skin that the others didn't. "I am Admiral Vextara of the Zalaxian Empire, military authority of the galactic hegemony," the alien said. "Your species is unknown to us. Identify yourself and your origin." Jack stood straight, deciding that confidence was his best approach. "I am Jack Miller of Earth. I am a scout, testing our first faster-than-light drive when it malfunctioned." "Earth? This system is not in our records." Vextara moved closer, examining Jack. "Your physical form is similar to several known species, yet different. What classification is your homeworld? Jack didn't understand. Classification? An alien at a nearby console spoke up. Based on atmospheric readings from the vessel and this being's biology, the planet would be Class 3, Admiral. Vextara's 4 eyes widened slightly. A Death World species. Interesting. Jack wasn't sure what that meant, but he didn't like the sound of it. Your vessel shows primitive design yet has several innovative features, Vextara continued. The drive system is far more advanced than your weapons or shielding. Why would you prioritize travel over defense? We're explorers, Jack said simply. We want to learn about the universe. Yet you carry weapons. Vextara pointed to the pistol they had taken from him. Just a precaution. We didn't know what we might find. The Admiral circled around Jack. Where's the rest of your fleet? Jack smiled. I'm just a scout, the beginning of humanity's journey to the stars. Something in Jack's confident tone made the Admiral pause. His breathing holes fluttered rapidly. Take this human to the examination chamber, Vextara ordered. I want a full biological and psychological assessment and analyze every part of that vessel. If there are more of these creatures coming, we need to know what we're dealing with. As the guards led Jack away, he maintained his composure, but inside his mind was racing. Aliens existed. They had a vast empire, and they seemed concerned about humanity for some reason. One thing was clear to Jack. He needed to stay alive and learn everything he could. Somehow he had to find a way to warn Earth, because Jack Miller had a feeling that this hegemony wouldn't welcome humans as equals. And if that was true, Earth needed to prepare. 6 months passed since Jack Miller's capture. During this time, the hegemony studied him and his ship carefully. They were both fascinated and troubled by what they learned. On the massive space station that served as the hegemony's central government, 7 alien leaders gathered for an emergency meeting. The circular room had seats for each of the 7 elder species that ruled the empire. Light glowed from the walls, and large screens showed star maps and data. Intelligence Director Krilvor, a thin alien with green skin and large eyes, stood in the center of the room. His species specialized in gathering and analyzing information for the hegemony. Honored council members, Krilvor began, I have completed my study of the human scout and his vessel. My findings are concerning. The council leader, a tall being with 4 arms and purple skin, leaned forward. Explain. Krilvor touched a control and a holographic image of Earth appeared. The species calls itself human from the planet Earth. It is definitely a Class 3 death world. Murmurs filled the room. Death worlds were planets with extreme conditions that produced tough, resilient species. The hegemony had encountered few Class 3 species, and they were always difficult to control. Earth has many different environments, Krilvor continued, showing images of deserts, oceans, mountains, and forests. The humans have adapted to live in all of these places. They can survive in extreme heat and cold. They can heal from injuries that would kill most other species. One council member scoffed, but they are primitive. Their ship barely functions in deep space. That is what troubles me, Krilvor replied. Their technological development has been extremely fast. Look at this timeline. A new display showed human history. They went from their first powered flight to basic space travel in less than 1 century. No other known species has advanced this quickly. He showed more images from the Pathfinder's databanks, human cities, military vehicles, and satellites. Most concerning is their response to threats, Krilvor said. When faced with danger, humans unite rather than divide. Their history shows many examples of competing groups setting aside differences to fight common enemies. The council chamber grew quiet as the implications sank in. And the prisoner? Asked the council leader. He reveals little, but we have studied his physiology and psychology. Humans are pursuit predators with remarkable endurance. They evolved to chase prey until it collapsed from exhaustion. This has made them unusually determined and persistent. On Earth, leaders from around the world gathered at the United Nations building in New York. 6 months had passed since contact with the Pathfinder was lost. Most people believed Jack Miller had died testing the experimental drive, but in a secure, underground room, Susan Grant knew differently. As NASA's director of xenological studies, she was one of few people aware of the truth. Susan was 43, with blonde hair pulled back in a tight bun. She had spent her career preparing for potential alien contact, though few took her department seriously until now. "Ladies and gentlemen," she addressed the room of military and government officials. "3 days ago, we received a transmission from the Pathfinder. It traveled 15 light-years, which explains the delay." The room buzzed with shocked whispers. "Jack, Miller is alive and he has made contact with an alien civilization. I'll play the message now." The large screen showed static. Then Jack's face appeared. He looked tired but unharmed. "This is Scout Pilot Jack Miller recording from captivity," he began. "I'm aboard an alien vessel belonging to what they call the Galactic Hegemony. They're an empire of 7 elder species that control hundreds of worlds." Jack explained what he had learned during his captivity. The hegemony had advanced technology, but hadn't developed much in thousands of years. They maintained power through strict control of knowledge and resources. "They call themselves the hegemony," Jack's voice continued through occasional static. "Highly advanced but stagnant. They're afraid of us, though they don't know it yet. I've uploaded their star charts to this message. Humanity needs to prepare. They're debating whether to establish diplomatic relations or sterilize our system. I don't think they realize what they'd be starting." The room fell silent when the message ended. The Secretary General spoke first. "Dr. Grant, what are we dealing with?" Susan stood. "A highly advanced alien empire that sees us as a potential threat. From what Jack sent, the hegemony follows a pattern. They either absorb new species as servants or eliminate them if they seem too dangerous." "And which category do they think we fall into?" asked a general. "That's what they're deciding now. But we should assume the worst and hope for the best." "What do you recommend?" the Secretary General asked. "Acceleration of the Defense Star Initiative. It was theoretical until now, but Jack's data gives us the means to make it real. We need to build defenses and ships without alerting the hegemony to our preparations." A military officer shook his head. "That's impossible. We don't have the technology." "Actually, we do now," Susan replied. "Jack didn't just send a message. He sent detailed scans of hegemony technology, their weapons, drives, and shields. If we adapt these to our own designs, we can build a fleet they won't expect." On the hegemony station, the Council's debate had lasted for days. Some wanted to destroy Earth immediately. Others saw humans as potentially useful servants. Admiral Vextara offered a compromise. "I propose a diplomatic mission. We will return the human scout as a gesture of goodwill while assessing their planet directly. If they seem controllable, we begin the standard integration process. If not, my fleet will be positioned to eliminate them quickly." The Council voted and approved his plan. Vextara met with Jack in his cell. "You are being returned to your planet. Human, we come in peace to establish relations between our civilizations." Jack kept his face neutral, but inside he felt both relief and worry. He would warn Earth in person, but the hegemony would be coming too. "I look forward to introducing you to my world," Jack said carefully. Unknown to the Admiral, Jack had learned more about the hegemony than they realized. During his captivity, he had observed their routines, noted their weaknesses, and even accessed computer systems when guards grew careless. Jack knew the hegemony's peace meant eventual control or destruction. But they had made a critical mistake. They had given humanity time to prepare. As Vexitara left, Jack smiled slightly. The hegemony thought he was just a scout. They would soon learn that humanity was far more dangerous than they could imagine. 3 months after the council meeting, Admiral Vexitara stood on the bridge of his flagship watching as Earth came into view. The blue-green planet looked peaceful from space. His massive vessel had traveled faster than light to reach this small corner of the galaxy. "Send the message," Vexitara ordered. "Tell them we come in peace and are returning their scout." The communications officer sent the message to Earth. Within minutes, humans replied, sounding surprised and happy. They had no idea the hegemony had been watching them carefully since finding Jack Miller. Prepare the human for return, Vextera told his first officer. Make sure he looks healthy and well treated. Jack sat in his quarters, no longer a prisoner but still watched. The aliens had moved him from a cell to a nicer room weeks ago. They gave him better food and even let him exercise. They wanted him to look good when they returned him to Earth. A guard came to escort Jack to the shuttle. "It is time for you to go home." Jack nodded. He had waited for this moment for months. The hegemony thought they were being clever, using him as part of their plan to study Earth up close. What they didn't know was that Jack had his own plans. 6 hegemony officials joined Jack on the shuttle. They were representatives chosen to impress and scare humans with their advanced technology and alien appearance. One was even Vextara himself, who rarely left his ship but wanted to see these interesting humans firsthand. On Earth, crowds gathered to watch the alien ship appear in the sky. News stations broadcast live footage worldwide. The President of the United States waited at the landing site with military leaders and scientists. Susan Grant stood nearby, trying to hide her worry. "Remember what we discussed," she whispered, to the President. "They're here to assess us, not to make friends." The shuttle landed smoothly on the special platform built for this historic moment. The door opened and Jack Miller stepped out first. He looked healthy and calm. He walked to the President and shook her hand. "Madam President," he said quietly. "They're scouts too, testing us, judging if we're a threat." The President's eyes widened briefly, but she quickly composed herself. Jack stepped aside and the aliens emerged from the shuttle. The crowd gasped at seeing real aliens for the first time. Admiral Vexitera stood taller than the others. His blue-gray skin and 4 eyes made him look both strange and impressive to the humans. "On behalf of humanity, we welcome the representatives of the Galactic Hegemony," the President announced to the world's cameras. "Today marks the beginning of a new chapter in human history." Vexitara stepped forward. "The Hegemony extends greetings to Earth. We return your brave explorer as a sign of our peaceful intentions." The official welcome ceremony continued with speeches and introductions. Later, at a private meeting in the White House, Vexitara presented gifts of technology to Earth's leaders, medical devices and power generators that seemed amazing to humans, but were actually basic by hegemony standards. "We wish to share knowledge and establish relations between our civilizations," Vextara said smoothly. "Your species has potential." While the public celebrations continued, Jack Miller met secretly with military leaders in a secure underground facility. The room was shielded to prevent any alien technology from listening. "They plan to study us for 3 months, Jack explained. "But really they're deciding whether to make us servants or destroy us. They've done this to hundreds of other species." General Paul Rogers, head of the newly formed Space Defense Command, nodded grimly. "How much time do we have?" "Not long," Jack said. "But they're overconfident. They think we're primitive because of what they've seen of our public technology. They don't know what we've been building since I sent that message." Lieutenant Alan Foster entered the room carrying a tablet. At 32, he was young for his position as head of the Space Intelligence Division, but his brilliant mind had helped him rise quickly. "The Hegemony delegation includes their top military and intelligence officers," Alan reported. "They think they're observing us, but they don't realize what we've been doing while Jack was gone." He showed images on a large screen, secret facilities on the far side of the moon, hidden shipyards deep underwater, and new weapons based on hegemony technology. "They don't know about the ships we've built based on your transmitted data," Alan continued, "or that we've already sent expeditions to 3 systems in their territory." Jack smiled. "How many ships are ready?" 12 so far," General Rogers replied. "Not many compared to their fleet, but ours have advantages they won't. Expect we've improved on their designs." Over the next few weeks, the Hegemony delegation toured Earth, visiting major cities and meeting with leaders. They seemed friendly, offering small technological gifts and talking about cultural exchange. But Jack knew they were gathering information, studying Earth's defenses and testing how humans reacted to different situations. At a state dinner, Admiral Vextara sat beside the President. Your world has impressive variety, he said. So many different governments and cultures. We believe diversity makes us stronger, the president replied. Vextara's breathing sacs fluttered slightly. Interesting. Most species find unity more efficient. Humans aren't most species, the president said with a smile. Meanwhile, in the lunar base hidden beneath the moon's surface, Commander Olivia Wright inspected the final preparations on Earth's first true warship, the Defiance. Based on hegemony, technology but modified by human engineers, it had capabilities that would surprise the aliens. Olivia was 40 years old, with dark skin and short hair that suited the tight confines of spacecraft. After 20 years in the Navy commanding submarines, she was the perfect choice to lead humanity's first space fleet. The hegemony believes we're at least 50 years from achieving independent interstellar travel, she told her officers during a briefing. They don't understand human ingenuity when our survival is at stake. Their technology may be advanced, but it's stagnant. They haven't faced real challenges in millennia. One officer asked, "Commander, what if they detect us before we're ready?" "That's why we're staying hidden," Olivia replied. "And why we're letting them think they're in control. Jack Miller is feeding them exactly what they expect to see. A primitive species impressed by their technology." As the third month of the hegemony visit approached, Admiral Vexitara prepared his final report for the Council. Senior analyst Zivpor, who had accompanied the delegation, compiled the intelligence they had gathered. "Humans are remarkably adaptable but primitive," Zivpor wrote. "They have no unified government, maintain numerous conflicting ideologies, and their technology poses no immediate threat. Recommendation: establish a monitoring outpost and begin the standard client-species integration protocol." What Zivpor didn't understand was that human division was actually a strength. While the hegemony operated through rigid hierarchy, humans thrived in chaos, developing multiple approaches to problems rather than single, perfect solutions. The day before the delegation was scheduled to leave, Olivia Wright received an encrypted message from Earth. "Be ready. They have hidden observers. Operation First Strike begins when they depart." The hegemony delegation spent 3 months on Earth, watching humans and testing their reactions. They visited cities, met with leaders, and studied Earth's technology. All this time, they thought they were the ones in control. They believed humans were showing them everything, but they were wrong. While aliens attended fancy parties and public demonstrations, the real work happened in secret places. Deep underground, underwater, and on the far side of the moon, humans worked day and night building ships and weapons. Admiral Vexitara stood on the White House lawn on his last day on Earth. His delegation prepared to return to their ship waiting, in orbit. The president and other world leaders came to say goodbye. "We have enjoyed learning about your world," Vextara said. "The galactic hegemony looks forward to future relations with Earth." The president smiled. "We hope this is just the beginning of a long friendship." Jack Miller watched from nearby, knowing these friendly words were false on both sides. The hegemony planned to either control Earth or destroy it, and humans were planning something the aliens couldn't imagine. As the alien shuttle lifted off, Earth's leaders gathered in the Situation Room below the White House. Large screens showed the hegemony's main ship in orbit. "Are they gone?" the president asked. General Rogers checked his tablet. "Their main ship is preparing to leave orbit." "And the others?" Just as Jack predicted, 3 smaller ships remained behind, cloaked. "Our new sensors can detect them, but they don't know that." The president nodded and turned to Jack. "How long before they come back with a larger force?" "A few months at most," Jack replied. "They'll install monitoring stations around our system and begin their standard procedure for taking over a planet. Then we need to move now." The president pressed a button on the table. "Commander Wright, are you ready?" Olivia Wright's voice came through the speaker from the lunar base. "Yes, Madam President. All ships are prepared, just waiting for your order. Begin Operation First Strike as soon as their main ship jumps to faster-than-light speed." On the moon, Olivia put on her spacesuit and prepared to board the Defiance. The ship looked nothing like traditional space shuttles or the International Space Station. Based on hegemony technology but improved by human engineers, it was sleek and powerful. 11 other ships just like it waited nearby, hidden in the lunar base. "The moment we've trained for is here," she told her crew as they strapped into their stations. "Today we defend not just Earth, but all the worlds suffering under hegemony rule." The crew members looked nervous but determined. Many had been submarine officers or fighter pilots before being secretly recruited for this mission. The ships were fully armed with weapons reverse-engineered from hegemony technology. In orbit, Admiral Vextara's ship activated its faster-than-light drive and disappeared in a flash of light. The 3 hidden ships stayed behind, positioned to watch Earth without being seen. "Main ship has departed," reported Lieutenant Foster from Earth's monitoring station. "Hidden ships are in position. Activate the Defense Star Network," ordered General Rogers. Around Earth, hundreds of satellites that seemed normal and harmless suddenly powered up special equipment. These satellites could detect hegemony cloaking technology and even disrupt it. "Defense Star Network active," said a technician. "We have exact locations of all 3 hidden ships." The president took a deep breath. "Commander Wright, you have permission to launch." On the moon, bay doors opened silently in the lunar surface. One by one, 12 Earth ships rose from their hidden base. Their engines made no fire or light that could be seen from Earth. Using technology adapted from the hegemony, they moved quickly toward the 3 hidden alien ships. The human ships surrounded each alien vessel before the hegemony observers knew what was happening. When the Defense Star Network activated jammers, the alien ships suddenly became visible and lost communication with their fleet. "All targets surrounded," Olivia reported from the Defiance. "They can't send warnings to the hegemony." "Open communication channel," she ordered. On the lead hegemony ship, Captain Zurval panicked when alarm sounded. Their cloaking device had failed and sensors showed 12 unknown vessels surrounding them. "Impossible," he said. "Humans don't have space combat ships." A human voice came through their speakers. "Hegemony vessels, this is Commander Wright, of Earth Defense Fleet. Your presence in our system was not invited. Power down your weapons and engines immediately." Zurval couldn't believe what was happening. "Where did they get these ships? How can they detect us?" His weapons officer looked desperate. "Should we fight?" Before Zurval could answer, the human commander spoke again. "Be advised that your weapons and engines are now targeted. Any hostile action will result in immediate response. We have no desire to harm you, but we will defend our world." Zurval realized he had no choice. Fighting would mean certain destruction. "Power down all systems except life support," he ordered. "Send no messages." All 3 hegemony ships surrendered without firing a shot. Meanwhile, far away from Earth, another part of the plan began. 9 small Earth ships, sent out secretly weeks before, reached their targets, hegemony monitoring stations in nearby star systems. Using surprise and their unexpected technology, these human ships quickly disabled the stations. Back on Earth, the president addressed the world, revealing the truth about the hegemony's plans and humanity's secret preparations. "Today we have taken our first steps to defend not just our world, but all worlds oppressed by the galactic hegemony. For months we have prepared while appearing helpless. Today, we show the galaxy that humanity will not be conquered or destroyed." His office at Space Intelligence Division, Alan Foster monitored reports from the fleet. "All hegemony monitoring capabilities in our solar system have been neutralized," he told Jack Miller, who stood nearby. "Phase 1 complete." Jack nodded. "Now for Phase 2. The hegemony needs to learn they aren't facing just another primitive species. They're facing a revolution." Alan showed Jack a map of nearby star systems. "Our advanced ships report that several enslaved worlds are already responding to our message. They've been waiting for someone to challenge the hegemony." Jack smiled. "The hegemony has ruled through fear for 10,000 years. They've forgotten what it's like to face a real fight. But humans remember. Fighting against the odds is what we do best." On the Defiance, Olivia received the order for the next phase of the operation. Earth would not wait for the hegemony to return with a larger fleet. Humanity would take the fight to them, freeing other worlds along the way. Set course for the Proxima system, she ordered. It's time to introduce ourselves to the galaxy. The Hegemony Council received the final report about Earth with satisfaction. After 3 months of observation, Senior Analyst Zivpor had classified humans as a Level 2 pre-integration civilization. This meant Earth was worth watching but not an immediate threat. The Council approved the standard plan: secretly place spies in human governments, slow down their technology development, and prepare for eventually taking control. No one expected what happened next. Emergency alarms blared throughout the council chamber. The 7 elder species representatives had just started their meeting when the room filled with flashing lights. "What is happening?" demanded the council leader. A communications officer rushed in, his breathing sacs fluttering rapidly in distress. "Honored leaders, we have lost contact with 17 monitoring stations simultaneously." Before anyone could respond, more reports came flooding in. Unknown ships had appeared in 3 different hegemony systems. The vessels showed human life signs. "Impossible," shouted a council member. "Humans are primitives. They cannot have faster-than-light ships." Admiral Vextara rushed to the main military command center. Large screens showed reports from across hegemony space, more stations going silent, more human ships appearing, and now, something even more disturbing. Several client species were declaring independence and joining the humans. "How could this happen?" Vextara asked, his 4 eyes blinking rapidly. "The ships we left to watch Earth, did they send warnings?" "No, Admiral," replied the communications officer. "We lost contact with all 3 ships shortly after you returned." Vextara suddenly understood with terrible clarity. The humans had known about the hidden ships. They had prepared for this while pretending to be impressed by hegemony technology. The scout ship had not been an accident as they had assumed. "Send the fleet," Vextara ordered. "All available warships to Earth. We must crush this rebellion before it spreads." But reports kept coming. The Thoraxians, a client species that had served the hegemony for 1,000 years, had turned their defense systems against hegemony ships. The Vrex Collective had shut down the hegemony control centers on their planets. 3 other species had joined them. "This is more than random attacks," Vextara realized. "This is coordinated. The humans have united our slaves against us." On the bridge of the Defiance, Commander Olivia Wright received confirmation of successful operations across all targeted hegemony installations. "Phase 1 complete," her executive officer reported. "All hegemony monitoring capabilities in our solar system have been neutralized. Our advanced teams have disabled key hegemony control systems in 3 sectors. Client species are rising up, as predicted." "Any casualties?" Olivia asked. "Minimal. Most hegemony personnel surrendered when faced with unexpected resistance. They weren't prepared for a real fight." Olivia nodded with satisfaction. "Send the message." Throughout hegemony space, on every communication channel, the same transmission began playing. Jack Miller's face appeared on screens in thousands of ships and planets. He wore the uniform of Earth's Unified Space Command now, not the simple flight suit from when the hegemony first found him. "To the Galactic Hegemony Council," Jack began. "You believed you were evaluating whether humanity deserved a place in your order. You failed to understand that we were evaluating you." In the Hegemony Council chamber, the 7 elder species watched in growing horror. "Your empire has ruled through fear and lies for 10,000 years, Jack continued. "You keep technology from developing. You pretend to be more advanced than you are. You tell each species they are alone in opposing you." Jack's expression became more determined. "But humans don't accept being controlled. We value freedom. We believe all species deserve the right to determine their own future." The message showed images of human ships helping client species overthrow hegemony control centers. It showed the advanced technology Earth had developed by improving on hegemony designs. "This is not an invasion," Jack declared. "This is a revolution. We offer all worlds oppressed by the hegemony an alternative, alliance with humanity against your rule." On dozens of planets, formerly obedient client species watched the message and saw hope for the first time in generations. Many had hated their hegemony masters but believed resistance was impossible. Now humans showed them it was possible. In the command center, Admiral Vexitara watched with despair as reports of rebellion spread faster than his ships could respond. "What have we awakened?" he whispered. The intelligence director stood nearby, finally understanding what had happened. "They used our arrogance against us. We saw their divisions as weakness, but it made them stronger. While one group talked peace with us, others built weapons. They think in ways we forgot long ago." The hegemony fleet mobilized to crush the rebellion, but they faced an enemy unlike any before. Human ships were faster and more maneuverable than they should be. Human weapons were based on hegemony technology, but modified in unexpected ways. And human tactics were unpredictable. They didn't follow the standard battle patterns the hegemony had used for thousands of years. Back on Earth, the president met with the United Worlds Alliance, representatives from Earth and the newly freed planets. The meeting took place virtually, with aliens appearing as holograms in the White House conference room. "We stand at the beginning of a new era," the president told them. "For too long, the hegemony has prevented cooperation between worlds. Together, we can build something better." The alien representatives, many seeing other client species for the first time, agreed eagerly. The hegemony had always kept them isolated, telling each that they were the only ones being helped by the advanced elder races. Susan Grant, who had first presented Jack's message to Earth's leaders, now served as Earth's ambassador to the Alliance. The hegemony's greatest weapon wasn't their technology, she explained to the group. It was making each world think they were alone. By uniting, we're already stronger than they ever were. As weeks passed, more worlds joined the Alliance. The hegemony found itself fighting on too many fronts at once. Their rigid command structure couldn't adapt to the rapidly changing situation. They evolved as predators on death worlds, Admiral Vexistara told the Council as they considered their options. "They think differently than we do. They see opportunities where we see only established patterns. And worst of all, they've given our client species hope." For the first time in 10,000 years, the hegemony faced the possibility of defeat. Their empire, built on control and fear, was crumbling in the face of something they had never expected, a species that valued freedom more than safety, and that would fight not just for themselves but for others. As rebellion spread across the galaxy, with unprecedented speed, humanity revealed their greatest weapon, not their technology, but their ideas. Freedom, self-determination, equality between species. Concepts the hegemony had suppressed for millennia now spread like wildfire. The Empire was indeed in panic. And humanity's scout had been just the beginning.